it hurts. And I'm too sexy for Milan, too sexy for Milan, New York and Japan.
Hey, welcome back this week, everybody, to Doin with Stiles. And if you've been a long-time watcher of this show, you recognize this young lady right here, Sheryl Green. And the reason that Sheryl's here today is she's written another book. So this is 5 or 6?
Technically 6.
Technically 6.
Yeah.
Why do you say technically 6?
Because I wrote one which was more of just a project when I was at the rescue.
Okay.
So I don't necessarily
But it didn't get
count
published?
that. I just did an ebook.
Okay, all right.
So, but it's for people
And what was
taking
that
care
about?
of their pets. It's a first aid for pets.
Wow.
So co-authored it with a vet. Yeah.
I know a lot of people that could use that book.
Absolutely.
Where can we get it?
Yeah. You can email me and I will send it to you.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, your last book, the one that I did read, I didn't get to read all of this. I've been trying to get through it and between here and there. But the other one I love, the Do Good to Do Better, was absolutely fantastic, especially for a small businessman like we are here. And I like the whole concept of partnering up with nonprofits, and we have a new show here that starts. The episodes will start broadcasting the first week in September.
Okay.
And it's called The Gift of Giving. And we are showcasing and interviewing as many of the nonprofits and 501c3s and you know that we can here in Las Vegas.
Love that.
And Reno.
I love it.
So yeah, look for that. But this one, I think I especially am going to enjoy. It's called You Had Me at No. Now, that's an interesting title and could be taken a lot of different ways. So how did this come about? What prompted you to write this particular book at this particular time?
So the title actually came last. With some books, the title is the idea, and with some books, the title is I have to get this published. I need to come up with something. That was this case. Honestly, I realized about 1.5 years, 2 years ago that I had really unhealthy boundaries, and they were the root cause of pretty much every problem I was experiencing. And unfortunately, it took, I'm calling it the oncoming headlight moments.
Right.
I was working with both a nonprofit and I was working my own business, and it was like 16 to 18 hour days just to try and keep up with all of the work, and I was failing.
Were you having fun?
No, I was not.
That should have been your first clue,
yes,
right?
I was crying constantly. I think I cried from October to December, and I was really short with everybody. I was not a lot of fun to be around. I get that.
You slapped me twice. I remember that at one of the NSA meetings.
I apologize, but you probably deserved it, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
No, it's good. So I was driving along one day, and I saw the headlights of the oncoming cars, and I had this crazy thought: if I just crossed over the median, it would just end like that. And that scared the crap out of me. Obviously, I didn't want to hurt myself, and I certainly didn't want to hurt someone else.
I want to comment on that because I've known you for a while, and I remember an experience that you had while driving some years back.
Yes.
And did that, when you had that aha headlight moment, did any of that come back, or did that influence where you went from there?
It's an interesting question. I've never even looked at it that way.
Okay.
I don't think it did.
Okay.
While I will say that does definitely pop up, and I was actually on my way to you to record a radio show when I swerved and my car flipped 5 times. So yeah, it's definitely in the back of my head, but this scared me.
Could that have been the reason that that last minute, like, wait a minute, I've been here, I don't want to go through this again kind of thing?
Maybe.
Subconsciously?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
It could be possible. I think a lot of it was just I would never want to hurt someone else.
Yeah.
What happens to me is another story,
Right.
but the guilt and the feeling that I've caused pain for someone else would be too much.
So that was your aha moment?
It was. I pulled off the road, calmed myself down, and just had this realization, like, something has to give. Life can't go on like this, and if I keep trying to keep up with what's going on, I'm not going to be around to help anyone.
Well, and how do you explain to your dogs if
Exactly.
you're not here anymore? You know,
Exactly.
they don't understand, and you know, it's just like, so, you know, to me, that would be the worst part.
Yes.
My dogs and my animals not knowing. So, so that was the impetus for the book.
That was the impetus for a life change.
Okay.
I started kind of dabbling in boundaries, you know, read a couple books, was like, oh, maybe this is it, maybe. And then a few months later, I was actually asked to step into a leadership position for one of the local organizations I'm a part of. And I didn't say yes right away, and there was something going on in the old stomach and the head going, I don't know that I want to do this. But a good friend of mine had asked me, and I didn't want to say no. I didn't want to disappoint her. I've gained so much in my life through volunteering and through service that I was like, well, you know, this would be good. What I didn't realize at the time was, one, I was planning for a wedding, which is kind of a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I keep kidding myself that events don't take a lot of effort and work, but no, they do. I was planning on that, and then I also, my parents were getting up there, and a lot more responsibilities was falling on me. And I didn't realize it until I finally gave my friend the yes. And everything just came rushing in, like, what did I just do? And took a couple of, I'm going to say weeks, took a couple of conversations with my husband, with some mentors, some soul searching, and finally sitting on an airplane with a dead Kindle. And if you've ever lost your electronics, you know, like, oh my God, I have to sit with the thoughts in my head. That's horrific. And I realized at that point I was doing everyone a disservice if I followed through with it. And as much as it hurt to say no, that it had to be done.
Right.
So I called her. I gently bowed out of it. And she found somebody else, which was great. And I was like, okay, boundaries. I need to learn them, and then I need to teach them.
Yeah.
Oh.
There was a chapter in here about dogs. Sorry. that I really liked.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So when you talk about that,
or should we start farther back?
We can start wherever you want.
Okay.
You know I'm always good to talk about dogs.
I know.
When we talk about that feeling that comes up in the stomach, I believe, and there's scientific proof out there, that when our head doesn't know something, our body does. So maybe your head is like, oh, do I want to accept the invitation, opportunity, whatever? Yeah, I don't know. And, you know, you've got all those thoughts like, oh, am I people pleasing? Do I actually want to do it? Your body is like, no, I got this. And you're going to feel that clench in your stomach. You're going to feel the tightening in your throat. Your heart's going to pound, whatever it is for you.
Right.
It's like your poker tell. You know, everybody's got their own. And what's interesting, and I was reading The Gift of Fear. And the author actually talks about how dogs know when something is off. Mm-hmm. But what he says is that it's not actually the dog knowing. The dog knows that we're off, which means we know something is off. The dog's just reading us better than we're reading ourselves. Yes. And I used the example years ago. I lived in an apartment community, it was called, in North Carolina. And I had the sweetest dog in the world, Akasha. She was a Beagle Lab mix. She loved everyone, and she was like the mayor of our community because we'd go for a walk at lunch, and she'd say hi to everybody, and the tail's wagging. And one day I'm in the apartment. My husband at the time was out at work, and a guy came to change the air filters. And Akasha stood in between the two of us, hackles raised, growling the entire time he was in there. And I believe in listening to dogs,
yes.
even before that I knew they were listening to me. And I finally said to the guy once he was out of the apartment, I'm like, you'll need to call in the future. I said, you cannot come in here when my husband's not here. And was he a nice guy? I mean, he was fine.
Sure.
But I trusted the dog.
I know exactly what you mean. I feel the same way. They'll tell you. They'll let you know.
Absolutely.
You know, so.
Yeah, but it's actually us letting them know to let us know.
Right, yeah.
So it's good to know.
Yeah, it is. So tell us how did you get started writing the book? What was the, okay, you got this concept in your head, mm-hmm. and you say, okay, I'm going to start. How did you decide where to start, I guess is my question.
So I'm a big proponent of outlining.
Okay.
I tried writing a book, and I did finish, but it took 5 years. I tried writing a book without any outline.
Right.
And it's hard. It really is hard, and that's where writer's block comes in. For now, whenever I write, I have a very extensive outline before I ever sit down to put the first word on the page.
Okay.
And that outline started on the airplane. As soon as I had the idea, I was like, okay, let me think about all the boundary violations that I've experienced in my life. Let me think about how I've felt, just how maybe I violated other people's boundaries. And I got my outline started. Once I got home, I got every book I could read. I spoke to every therapist that would give me time of day. And I interviewed some friends. And I was actually very honored and very just grateful that I have such strong, they were all women that I interviewed, that such strong, powerful women around me that had already had their boundary journey, right. To some degree, and were willing and able to share that with me and with the audience. And those interviews, they confirmed a lot of what I had been reading, experiencing, all of that, but they also kind of opened a new world. I had a leadership expert, I had a legal expert, I had entrepreneurs, I had nonprofit right. leaders, and they all brought something really amazing to the table. So putting all of that together was, I did a couple of quick polls on Facebook, right. Where, what beliefs were you raised with, things like that. But for the most part, this was reaching out to the people that I know and that I respect, and putting it all together in a way that's digestible. Right. And if you've ever read any of my stuff, you'll know it's very digestible.
Yes, and it's very readable. Everything that you've written that I've read is more or less conversational. Yeah. And I like the little bits of humor that you drop here and there because it's. I mean, I'm reading along and I go, oh yeah, yep, I get that, So I love that. So what is the gist of the book? Tell me, what is the message that you're hoping that people will get out of this?
Yeah. So if I had to put this in one sentence, we've all heard the statement, no is a complete sentence. And yeah, it is, and that's a great little statement. But if you don't actually believe that you have the right to say no, it's useless. Right. It's completely useless. What I wanted to do with this book is dive into the core beliefs that some of us, not everybody, are raised with, that creates people pleasing, that makes us think if we don't say yes to everything, if we don't put other people's needs and priorities above our own, that we're somehow going to fail in life. We're going to be cast
Yeah, you're going to be
out.
selfish. You can be.
Exactly.
Nobody wants it. Yeah, you suck. Don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
You suck. That's just it. So that's what this book is. It's like, let's look at those beliefs, and then let's realize you have the right to say no. We can deal with how to say no and the situations and all that stuff, and that's
Right.
all in there. But first, you have to know that it's okay.
Well, and I like that it's not just no.
Right.
It's like it's there are times when you have to say yes, or you should say yes, or you want to say yes, and not just the just say no to everything and then figure it out later.
Correct.
Kind of thing. So I saw a little talk that you gave not too long ago that I thought explained it quite well about when you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. But when you're saying no to something, you're saying yes to something.
Yeah.
So can you expound on that a little bit? I mean, I like that concept.
Yeah.
And I think to me, it made some of the decisions that I've made since that time a little easier for me.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, everything we do takes resources. It takes energy. It takes mental, emotional bandwidth, time. It takes money. Everything we do.
Yep.
And we have to accept that there is a limited amount of everything, and I'm not saying that to be negative about money or
No. You're absolutely right.
And I believe in the
Right.
what is it, the Einsteinian time or something, that it's not the construct that we're used to, but it still takes time. And when you choose to do something, you're ultimately saying, whether you realize it or not, I'm going to divert my resources towards whatever this is, which means they're coming away from something else.
Right.
So instead of spending the time with your family, going to the gym, relaxing on the couch, if you choose to do something, reading a good book. If you choose to do something, you are choosing to not do something else. And it's something that we don't often realize. We don't look at it that way.
Right.
But there's only so much. So you got to choose carefully. And it doesn't mean you can't say yes. It just means you have to know what that means.
So there's also in the book there's a comment about we only have so many weeks.
Yeah.
4,000 or
4,000 weeks. Yeah,
4,000
that's
weeks.
Oliver Berkman
Yes.
wrote a really good book, and
I'm at 3,900
no.
94. No, I'm saying when I figured out, because when I
Yeah.
read that, I figured out, okay, well, how many weeks is that? How many
Right.
years is that?
Yeah.
And I got a birthday coming up in about a week, and
Okay.
that's going to hit my 4,000th week, and I'm thinking, well,
That's
I'm in
just
good
an
shape
average.
because I got plenty left,
It's just an average.
No,
so
I
you
know,
can,
no, I know,
you
I
can
know.
stick
Yeah.
around. But yeah, the average person
Right.
has 4,000 weeks. I think was it an 80-year lifespan, something like that.
76.
76. Oh wow. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
So yeah, we just, it's depressing, but it's also kind of uplifting, because it's like, well, if I can't get everything done, then I gotta pick.
Well,
I gotta be choosy.
When you say, okay, your average lifespan is going to be 75 to 80 years, right? And that, to most of us, is, wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
But when you break that down into weeks and you go, wait a minute,
Another one just passed.
yeah, holy crap, that's not
Yeah.
very long. So
Yeah.
I like that that's how it was presented,
Yeah.
rather than, anyway. But,
We're all gonna die. Do something happy
yeah,
while
sure,
you're here.
yeah,
Do
yeah,
something
yeah,
you enjoy.
Yeah. So, and I think that the other thing was that it wasn't that, to hell with everybody, I'm just going to enjoy myself and have a good time, and I'm not doing nothing for nobody.
Yeah.
That's not what I've gotten out of the book so far. It was making choices to create a better you, or a more centered being that you, to enjoy your life more, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
And yesterday I was actually speaking to a group of women, and one of the questions that came up was, can I ever say yes? And I made it very clear in the book and when I speak that this is not a big middle finger to the world.
Yeah, no.
It's really not.
Yeah.
It's not a I'm never doing anything for anyone. I'm here for me.
Right.
Like I said before, volunteering literally saved my life.
Right.
I would never ever suggest that. But
and saying yes to something that gives you some pleasure or some strength,
yes,
or reinforces whatever it is that you're doing, that's a good thing for you personally,
yes,
as an individual.
Yeah.
So that's and I think that maybe that's what I'm getting out of what I've read so far, is that that's basically the point.
Yeah.
Is that and it's okay to say no to those things that take away from that, and create a person with a lot of strife and pressure and all of that stuff. Because I'm bad at that.
Yeah.
I really am. It's like,
Many
it's
of
like,
us are.
oh well, how can I say no?
Yeah.
And I'm learning, and it's and a couple of decisions that I've made here in the past few weeks is like, well, that felt pretty good. and yeah, and now that person will never bug me again. No, I'm sorry.
So actually, the original title for this book was not exciting, so don't expect to be knocked off your seat right now. But it was intentional decision making, and I still
I wouldn't have read that.
I know exactly. It's not exciting. But that, I still reference it a few times because what that is many of us deal with yes vomit. And sorry to be graphic, but it's, can you? Yes, yep, absolutely, sure. There's no filter, there's no stop in between the head and the mouth, and it's just coming out. What this is to stop that yes vomit. It's intentionally deciding, do you want to do something? Fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you not want to do something? Fantastic. Yeah. So really that was the goal, but not a very exciting title, so that got shot down real quick.
But and I love the title. It's catchy, and it does, once you get into the book, you understand the title more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's so I know that, for example, taking some of this to heart, I know that if I ask you something and you say no, my my response is, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because I understand, I understand why she's saying no, and I think that would help a lot of us, and it also, it doesn't prevent me from asking, but it makes me think before asking. What am I asking this person to do? Right. Am I asking them to do something that if the situation was reversed, I wouldn't want to do? Yeah. So I think that can be a helpful something that comes out of this. I hope.
They say to have friends, you have to be a friend.
Yes.
To set boundaries, you have to have boundaries. Mm-hmm. And is that English? I'm gonna go with it. I'm just gonna run with it.
Well, I understand.
Thank you. Is that what I'm saying? But really, you can't expect other people to respect your boundaries if you don't respect theirs. And the better you get at it, the more you flex that boundary muscle and have really healthy, functional boundaries, the more you're going to accept it from people around you. Right. And we all lift each other up.
Well, and that's kind of what I was trying to get at in a different way, was that a lot of us now, hey, can you do this? No, I'm sorry. What?
Yeah.
What the hell? Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah. And we don't understand sometimes what we're asking. Yeah. Or we do, and we don't care. And that's even worse. Yeah. So anyway, never mind.
Yeah, no, It's perfect. I mean, look, I remember, before this journey, and I mentioned it in the book, I had somebody working with me at the rescue, and I asked her to do something, and she said, absolutely, but my hours are out for the week. Can I do it next week? And I nodded and smiled and said, sure. But inside, I'm screaming, like, what the hell is wrong with you? This is for the animals.
Yeah.
And it was only after I started this journey, and she's one of the women that I interviewed, so she knows about the story. But it was only after I started the journey that I was like, oh, those were boundaries. Oh, I had no idea. Okay, cool.
Well, that's cool.
So,
I should get some of those.
Yeah, that seems healthy.
What has been the hardest part about the whole concept of You Had Me at No? What has been the hardest part for you to deal with or accept or absorb?
That's a really good question. One of the points that I make in the book is that there are some people who are more difficult to set boundaries with, and some people who are not that big a deal.
Right.
It's kind of like boundaries for babies.
Yeah.
I think I still have those people in my life that I'm working on it. It's a lifelong journey, but that there's still there's this difference between guilt and shame.
Right.
And most people, if you can't do something for them, maybe you're going to experience a little bit of guilt. Like, oh man, I really wish I could help, blah, blah, blah. It's just a bad time or whatever.
Right.
When you get into that shame, and part of it has to do, I think, with the closeness of the relation, but I think part of it also has to do with their boundary abilities. Sure. When you get into that shame, it's, oh, I can't do this because I'm a bad person.
Right.
And I'm still dealing with that. I still have to remind myself every once in a while, like, saying no is okay.
Well, especially people that are close to you.
Yes. Yeah.
Parents or kids or siblings or things like that. Yeah. Because you feel a very strong obligation that, well, they're family. I have to do this or I have to do that, Yeah. And they're not going to understand. Yeah. And maybe they will. I don't know if you explain it to them, but that's still, that would be tough for me too.
My
sister called up today and says, hey, I can you come down? I'd be in my car heading to California.
Yeah.
And
that's okay if that's what you want to do. That's totally good.
No, I don't, because I don't want to drive all the way over there and then drive all the way back. No. But I mean, of course I would.
Yeah.
And it's it's just, and she would do the same for me. So that makes it easier, even though I'm saying no to this other stuff.
Yes.
Because if I had to leave here for a couple of days, I'd have some very pissed off people here.
Right. Absolutely. Standing at the door knocking.
Yeah.
About a year and a half ago, maybe more, I had my parents called me. Their alarm went off. I had to go rushing right over. And I did, even though the cat didn't even come out when I was there. So he's clearly under the bed if somebody's breaking in. They have nothing of crazy value that's not in a safe, all the things. And then I went over the first time, there was nothing. The second time, and this was within a week, they had an issue with the system. The second time, I sat there and I thought about it for a second, and okay, you can see me right now. You can see I am not like the Hulk over here.
Yeah, I know.
And I said to my dad, what would happen if someone was there? Like, I mean, I could identify them if they don't kill me.
Right.
But, I had to get past that, like, I am bad. I am a bad daughter if I don't rush over for absolutely everything they need. And that's probably what I struggle with.
Yeah, no. I get that.
Point.
Yeah. Did you call the alarm company?
I said to them, I was like, I said, we're just going to cancel it. The cat's safe. There's nothing out. Like, if you come home and the door is open, don't go in.
Yeah. Oh, they weren't home?
No, they weren't home.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, if they were home.
Okay, so they weren't home and they just wanted you to go over there and check it out. I see.
And I'm like, no, it's not going to work for me.
Yeah, call the alarm people.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, we had a neighbor some years back, about 3 houses down, and about 6 or 8 times a week their alarm would go off. And they had one of the ones outside.
Oh, yeah.
The whole neighborhood knew that there was something going on.
Where you're all like, oh, just break in already.
Yeah. So anyway, So they finally moved, thank God. So you just had the launch for this book.
I did. It came out
a couple days ago.
Yeah, it came out on Monday, the 21st.
Okay.
I am doing a party, launch party on September 20th.
Party? Cool.
So I'm pretty excited about that. It's going to be at Arbisana, which is a new olive oil and vinegar store. And it's really pretty. And the best part...
So even a store?
A store.
For olive oil?
Yes.
And vinegar?
Yes. It's
That's
really...
it. That's
really,
all they sell.
That's all they sell. And you can go in...
There's a whole store for that.
There's a whole store. And it's really good olive oil.
Okay.
But the best part...
Where are they located?
They are on Sahara in, I think it's called Village Square.
Oh, over Summerlin. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Village Square.
Yeah.
And then there's Town Square.
Yes.
Which is out on,
this is Village Square. It's, what is that, Fort Apache in Sahara?
Right.
I
think.
That's
it.
So it's in there. And
right off the freeway, too.
Yes.
Yeah, the 250.
Very easy to get to. Yeah. It's 4 to 7 in the afternoon. And the best part, aside from, you get to meet me, but I am bringing in a rescue dog from Vegas Pet Rescue Project.
Oh.
So they're going to come and hopefully find a home.
Cool.
Because I still want to use my platform to help animals, and we already talked about it. We're going to have a pup walking around, and hopefully somebody goes home with a book and a dog.
And what kind of dog is it?
So I don't know yet.
Oh.
You never know.
Oh, you're asking them to bring one in.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we'll see who's available at that time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I can't see you doing anything without involving a rescue in some way, shape, or form.
I can't. Physically impossible.
Yeah.
I gotta help the pups.
Yeah.
And the cats.
What about the birds?
Sure.
And the bees?
Yeah, the bees need our help right now.
Definitely,
So,
yeah. Anyway, that's another story for another time. So I'm loving what I've read so far. I wish I had time to just sit down and read it. I've been. It's kind of fascinating to me because I've just been kind of opening the book and start reading, at different places. Okay, here's one. She then goes on to identify 9 potential reasons why you can't sufficiently set a boundary. Mm-hmm. Number 1, you fear being mean.
Yeah.
Number 2, you fear being rude. Number 3, you're a people pleaser. Number 4, you're anxious about future interactions after a boundary has been set.
Yeah.
You feel powerless and not sure boundaries will help. You get value from helping others. Now that one, my point is, if that's what gives you pleasure, if that's what gives you some value, then that's not such a bad thing.
The problem is if you only get value from helping others.
That's true. If you go too far.
Yeah.
You project your feelings about being told no onto others. Well, all right. You have no clue where to start. Yeah, I like that one. You believe that you can't have boundaries in certain types of relationships. That is a difficult one.
Yeah.
And I think that of all of them, that's the most important.
Yeah.
Of all of those. Having boundaries in a relationship has to, my opinion, only my opinion, strengthen the relationship.
Yeah.
And give you more of an understanding of your partner, where they're coming from and stuff like that. So
I'm going to back that up a little bit. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Please.
If all of those that you just read.
Yes.
They all pretty much boil down to one thing. So think back, we're our caveman ancestors, and you're sitting around and you really piss off one of your fellow cavemen, like really bad. What happens?
You club them.
You could club them. Yes, that is a possibility. Violence. But you are a popular man.
Well, it's supposed to be on airplane mode.
It is not.
I know it's not. I'll say. I told you never to call me here. I left the money on the dresser just like I always do. Okay. No.
No judgment. But, if that happens, chances are you are going to be thrown out of the tribe. You're
okay.
going to be excommunicated. You're going to be kicked out, which means there's no one watching your back.
Okay.
And when you stop being a part of the tribe or the group and you get kicked out, you're now in physical, life-threatening danger. Saber-toothed tiger is looking for a snack. It's you, because nobody is looking out for you.
Right.
So even now, when saber-toothed tiger, not our biggest threat
Genetic
or a
memories.
threat, we've got that lizard brain.
Yeah.
And it kicks in and we're like, if I don't say yes, if I don't make them happy, if I don't agree, if I don't placate, I'm going to get eaten. It's like a hop, skip, and a jump.
Right.
And most of us don't realize that. It's not like, oh, well, man, if I canceled today, John's he's gonna kill me. I'm gonna get eaten. Like, we don't go there.
Right. Consciously, we don't go there. Right.
But subconsciously, we're like, oh, I'm in danger.
Yeah.
So, it's something that you can actually really make yourself laugh. Because if someone invites you to a party and you're like, okay, well, do I really want to go? Not really. I'm tired. Blah, 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 all the reasons. But if I don't go, well, I'll get eaten.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, hold on. Maybe this is a little silly. And maybe I can deal with this in a different way and not arrive at saber-tooth snack.
Right.
Yeah.
I can dig it. So, what's next?
A coloring book.
Really?
I actually woke up this morning and I was like, you know what? Coloring is so good for us and it's such a great relaxation tool. And having boundaries is such self-care that I was like, I want to combine it.
So you have to stay within the boundaries.
Ooh, I hadn't even thought of that.
Well, that was the first thought that popped into my head.
No, hadn't even thought of that. I like that.
Ooh.
Huh.
Let's collaborate. I have an idea.
Can you draw? Because I can't.
No. No.
Then we need one more person.
Okay. Think of this. You open the coloring book, all right? And there's a couple of pages there.
Okay.
And there's all different lines all over the page.
Okay.
You pick the boundaries, lines, that you want to color within. So you can create your own boundaries.
Okay.
And they would have to mean something.
Right.
They would have to be, like you're given a couple of different choices.
Yeah.
And each one means something.
Interesting. Okay.
So
all right. It's
that
a
shouldn't
thought.
take you longer than 10 or 15 years to put that together.
First, I need to learn how to draw.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of the first step, just because I think it would be a
Right.
fun project, and I think people could really learn their boundaries
Right.
and have the relaxation. And I'm gonna have it up by Christmas.
Which Christmas?
This Christmas. I don't know how, but it's gonna happen.
Okay.
So
I'm going to have you back in here the week before
Let's
Christmas.
do it. Let's do it.
Okay?
Literally have no idea how I'm
you
gonna
now
make this
have to-
happen, but I will.
You now have a commitment, right?
I got
you
it.
You can say no.
No, I'm saying yes. I
Okay?
am, yes.
And we'll get you in here and we'll see if you've made the progress or if you get the book out.
Let's do
and
it.
if you haven't,
Let's do it.
we will give you nothing but encouragement.
Perfect. I like
Okay?
that. That's kind of the first step, but the next book is going to be Boundaries for Leaders.
Ooh.
Because this one I looked at entrepreneurs and having your own business and dealing with your clients and your vendors and whoever, your family when
Right.
you're working out of the house, because Lord knows we need boundaries then. And I looked at kind of boundaries for the employee. But the next one I'm going to collaborate with my husband because he's been leading a team for many, many years. And we're going to delve into boundaries for leaders because it's
I like that.
important. And we've got so much burnout and so much turnover out there. And if everybody had better boundaries, maybe we could make life a little better.
And like I said, the understanding other people's boundaries or understanding that other people have boundaries,
Yes.
I think is important.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's I'm learning that or trying to learn that works both ways. If I've got boundaries, then I got to expect you to have boundaries as well, and I have to respect those boundaries.
Yeah.
if I expect you to respect mine. So,
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So.
Yep. And when you uncover a boundary violation that you have committed, apologize.
Yeah.
If it's, what do they say in AA, like if it doesn't cause them harm or something like that. I don't know what that is exactly.
Are you thinking about the medical profession?
No,
do no harm?
There's no.
The Hippocratic Oath?
There's something in the 12 steps that's like you can apologize
I never
to
got
people.
past step 3.
I'm just addicted to chocolate and I'm not giving that up. So, but you can apologize as long as it doesn't do them extra harm, something like that.
Yeah.
So, if you've hurt somebody and they're still in your life, or you can comfortably reach out to them. I have a friend who I mentioned in the book that he gets very weirded out with a certain word, and I won't say the word, but we all took joy in saying that word and watching him squirm and being uncomfortable. And as I'm writing this book,
I know what the word is.
What?
I'll tell you after the show.
As I'm writing this book, I just had this realization one day, because I was talking about other people's boundaries, and I was like, well, I
can't do that anymore.
I have overstepped someone else's boundary. He's told us multiple times that it upsets him, and I apologized, and he was like, wait, what? What? You're sorry, and you're not going to do it again? What? So yeah, make amends if you can.
That have you found that that people reacting when they find out that you have a boundary, or they have reached that boundary, what kind of reactions are you getting now from, but a lot of people, and I'm sure that some of them go, what?
Yeah. Did she not say yes?
What do you mean no?
What? You're gonna encounter many different reactions. There are gonna be some people that, raise an eyebrow and they're like, oh, you figured out boundaries, good for you. And they go on their merry way.
Right.
You're gonna have some people that are really not happy with it. Look, we don't like change as a species. We do not enjoy it.
Well, and those are the people that have probably been taking advantage of you anyway.
So I'm just gonna change that verbiage,
because
please. I want people.
I've never written a book, so
I want people to take full responsibility.
Right.
So they're not taking advantage of you. You have allowed them to take advantage.
Okay.
Because if we do it from the victim standpoint, they can keep doing it.
Right.
If we do it from the I have allowed this, and now I don't.
Right.
It kind of changes the dynamic, and it puts the power back in our court, and it puts the responsibility back in our court.
Right.
So yeah, you're gonna have some people that they're either gonna try and push back. Well, come on, you've always done it. You know, something like that. You're gonna have the middle finger to the world of the people that are just like, if you don't do what I want, then I don't need you. Yeah.
That's the key right there.
Yes.
Those are the ones that you want to get rid of anyway.
Yes, and that's okay too. Ding, ding, ding. But yeah, I mean, that's part of boundary work, is realizing you don't have to respect my boundary, and I don't have to keep you in my life. Everybody has a choice here. Just because you put down a boundary, I could have said when I was coming over here, I expect M&Ms, only the green ones.
Right.
I would like a marching band, to enter me into the building, and you could have laughed in my face. I could have used that as a boundary.
Right.
You could have said no, and I could have accepted it and gone on with my life as not a prima donna.
I would have just said, "Oh, is that today?"
So yeah. Which he did, because he's hilarious. So, but then, I had that choice. Like, do I come and do the interview, or do I say, you know what, John, I'm done with you. I don't need you anymore. So we all have that choice, and you're gonna see a lot of different reactions, some good, some bad, and some people are just gonna take some time to come around.
Yeah.
You've been one way for so long. Don't expect them to just be like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, I gotta find somebody else for something you've been doing forever. Okay.
Yeah, I had a situation that took me a little time to get to that point with them, and they still, every once in a while, still try to push it a little bit.
Right.
And I'm just sorry, I'm not available. So, and it feels good, because it's like, I don't have to do that anymore.
Yes, yeah. And, I mean, look, sometimes they're going to kind of inch their way towards that boundary. And I have to bring dogs up because it's like, oh, no, you can't have your ball on the bed. And then you look over and the ball is sitting on the side rail of the bed, and you're like, well, it's not on the bed. And then the next moment they've got their paws up and the ball's in their mouth. You're like, it's still not on the bed. And finally, they're just on the bed with the ball because that's what they wanted the whole time.
Sure.
We're not much different from dogs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're way better, but
yeah. I won't argue with that. So. All right. Well, is there anything that you'd like to cover that we didn't cover? Is there anything that you want the people out there to know about you or your book or your boundaries or saying no or?
So I will say when you purchase the book, I am donating 5% to Vegas Pet Rescue Project, so we can help out the puppies and the cats and the birds and the whatever else. And you can find it on Amazon. You can also go to youhadmeatno.com and you can get the link to Amazon, and you can also download a free How to Say No cheat sheet.
Oh, wow.
So you can put it on your wall, print it out, stick it up there, so when you are...
You can blow it up and use it for wallpaper.
Put it everywhere. Absolutely. Put it on your car. Let's make the world a more boundaried place.
Right.
But, just a thought to leave everybody with. Some of us have spent our lives giving up ourselves instead of giving of ourselves. And it's time to take that back.
Yes.
Do for others, but make sure that you don't do what you don't want.
There's also an electronic version of the book, is there not?
There is, yes.
So you can download it for your Kindle and all that good stuff on Amazon,
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, so you can get the hard copy.
Yes.
Hard. You get the paperback. I like it. So. Well, I like this. I've always been a reader. I love reading books. I've always read books. There's something that a book does that Kindles can't, or it's just I love
it's an experience.
I love the feel of it. I love it's instead of going to get to the page I want, it's like. So anyway, so thank you for this.
You are welcome. You're welcome. There's no audiobook version yet. However, if you pay me enough, I will actually drive around in your car with you and I will read the book to you.
No.
No? Not an... All right. It's an alternative.
Not today.
Just saying. I didn't mean you. I'm saying anybody out there.
Okay, so hey, and if you decide that that's what you want to do, you can contact us here at WWDBTV, and I will get the message to Sheryl.
Thank you.
But how can they get a hold of you if they want to?
Yeah, so youhadmeatno.com. You can also go to SherylGreenSpeaks.com. Both have contact forms, both have my email address on there, and would love to hear from you, would love to hear about your boundary journey. You had me at no. I love the title. I really do. I was proud of that.
I'd like to thank all of you for coming back every week and watching all the crap that I put out here.
This wasn't
every once in a while we have some good guests like Sheryl. And I thank you for your support of the station, the studio, and for all of the support that you give our sponsors and our rescues and all the, because as you know, we're a pet-friendly studio here. And I
didn't know that. I would have brought my dog in.
All this years and you didn't know that?
I didn't even think of it. No. Oh. Okay, when I come back with the coloring book, I'm going to have a dog.
You got it.
Perfect.
I mean, we've had, I can't tell you, we've had sloths, we've had baby porcupines.
Stop. You had sloths?
Yeah, we had a sloth in here.
Do you still have access to the sloth?
I might.
Okay, I'm obsessed with sloths. Like, no joke.
No. And so was Corey Taylor, because it was on Corey's show. And I'll get a hold of her and see if we can get her back, and we'll have them on.
Oh my God.
They are so cool.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I got to hold one years ago, and it's life-changing.
Well, I'll tell you what else is cool is a baby porcupine.
I can understand that.
Yeah, they're just little tiny things in there. Oh man.
Oh, but sloths.
We had so much fun, and we've had lizards and snakes and dogs and cats, and I'm not into the snakes either, but yeah.
I've already been on TV with a snake.
Yeah, well, you know. So anyway, So thank you all again. We appreciate it, seriously. Thank you for your support. And you, as you know, you can catch us on Facebook. You can catch us on our website, WWDBTV. You can catch us on our YouTube. And you can catch us on our Roku channel. So Sheryl will be back a week or two before December to show off her new coloring book.
It's going to happen.
And I expect it to be more than 2 pages.
It will be.
Okay.
It will be, yeah. Just got to learn
Sheryl,
how to draw first.
thanks again for coming in.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And thank you for writing the things that you do. The stuff that you've written that I've read are valuable to me personally. I can use it in my everyday life and in my business. The last one that's kind of helped me out a lot there. So thank you.
Thank you.
And don't forget, this Saturday over at Barnes & Noble, I'll be doing a book signing. So y'all come down and, did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had a book.
I don't, but every Saturday I go there, and if you buy a book from Barnes & Noble's, I will sign it for you. I have a
awesome.
little table set up by the other thing there, and doesn't matter what book you buy, you can buy anything. So, all right?
That's awesome.
So, remember, like I always say, if you're going to do it with Stiles. Bye.